Scott, a Democrat from Virginia. Good morning to both of you. And Congressman Grimm, let me start with you because we just saw a bunch of your freshman Republican colleagues at a news conference saying they will support the plan. Are you convinced you have enough votes?
Yes, we're pretty certain we have the votes. And I think that, it's amazing that the senator is talking about compromise. Let me tell you, this bill, in my opinion, and most of my conference's opinion, is not perfect. It's not even close to perfect. There's a lot more we should have done, but being only one-third of this government, we have no choice but to compromise, and this is certainly much more of a compromise than a lot of us wanted. So compromise is a good word.
Were you pressured into giving your support to it?
Oh, I wasn't pressured at all. I took my time in looking at it and reading it, and no, I'm not happy. Again, it's not even close to what I wanted, but you have to recognize your limitations. We only control right now the House of Representatives. We cannot impose our will on the Senate or this president, and this is the best we can do. And at least it stops this spending spree to some extent. It puts in some caps. So it's not everything I wanted, but it's the start. And for the first 7 months to start to change the trajectory of this increasing debt, at least that's something. And we'll take the small victories and we'll continue to fight in the future because, as you said before in the lead up, we're looking at a downgrade of our AAA rating. That is Scott, reprehensible.
I'm guessing that there are things in this bill you're not very happy with either. It would be different, but do you think it's a good place to start for a compromise?
Well, first of all, I think you have to start off with the idea, with the reality that this is a manufactured crisis. The debt ceiling should be increased as a separate issue from the negotiations on the budget, which is a normal process. Fiscal year ends in September 30th. About every year we raise the debt ceiling, and it's never been suggested that a failure to come up with a budget deal would result in a default. You had Virginia, my home state, on the list of downgrades. We should get the debt ceiling issue behind us as we continue to negotiate. One of the problems that with the negotiations is that many people recognize that all of these cuts only partially offset the $400 billion a year tax cut that we passed last December. So that's $4 trillion over a 10-year period. Now we're looking for $400 billion now in cuts.
So there's no way you could support this bill or something close to it.
Well, first of all, you say this bill. This thing has been slapped together in the back room, and it's sprung out, and it's going to be put on the floor with nobody reading it. Nobody knows what's in it. And we're going to vote on it up or down, no amendments, no legislative process. We should have some process, and if we go through the normal process where we have amendments and we actually consider the legislative process, we might come up with some understanding. But these caps.
Congressman, he sounds a lot like many of the Tea Partiers who came in, who one of their big complaints was that all these deals got made in back rooms by leadership, that people were passing bills that they never had a chance to read. Is that what's going on here?
That's absolutely, it could not be farther from the truth. First of all, I had time to read this bill. We put the bill out. It went online. The CBO scored it one way. We had to go back and make a few slight changes to get the numbers where they needed to be. But let's be honest. You want to really have a discussion here? When did we pass Paul Ryan's budget? We put something in writing that everyone looked at, and we voted and we passed it. If the Democratic Party did not like it, why did they not, over these last several months, put their plan on the table and have it scored by the CBO? Go through regular order, have amendments. So it's so disingenuous to say that now this is a backroom deal when all these months they've been sitting on their hands and haven't put anything tangible on paper that could be scored by the CBO. You want to have an honest discussion? Let's have an honest discussion. Where's your plan in writing? Where has it been scored by the CBO?
In fact, we did put a plan when we had the normal process of a budget with amendments. We did have amendments. We did have a plan. And that's what we're talking about. This is a backroom deal sprung on the floor. We're going to vote it up or down. But the fact is that we're only offsetting tax cuts from December. $400 billion a year tax cuts, and now we're having that's $4 trillion. We're having $1 trillion in cuts now. To partially offset those tax cuts, many went to millionaires, billionaires, oil companies, and what we're doing.
The jet owners. Let's not forget the jet owners,
okay,
which the president put in the stimulus package.
That's fine, but we've had no process to tell. And when you talk about caps, if you've read and you've noticed their caps, these are not cuts. These are cuts to be. So we don't have a clue as to what will actually be cut. And if you fall for a cap, when you get down later in a couple of months down the line and find out that clean water grants and food inspectors and FBI agents and community health centers, then you'll find out later on what's going to get cut. We just put a cap, everybody smiles, oh, we've gotten through the debt ceiling. We ought to get the debt ceiling out of the way. There has never been an obligation to come to a deal before you dealt with the...
And that's been the problem. If I may, this country is addicted to spending. This president has been on a spending spree and has spent more money in the history of the United States.
We got to leave it there.
If we raise the debt ceiling without any of these caps and without any of these measures, then we're going to continue to the path of insolvency and bankruptcy.
Congressman Michael Grimm, thank you so much. Congressman Bobby Scott, gentlemen, we appreciate it. Today's tweet of the day is, of course, about the debt ceiling fight. 538 writes, or at 538, mostly we're debating whether Obama or Boehner gets one last round of egg on his face.